Hey guys, in this video quickly, I'm just going to talk about one of the reasons why I wouldn't use something like advanced skeleton. And granted, others can use it because they have projects that they want to finish fast and they don't know how to rig, and you're working on your animation. As an animator, I believe you need to have a certain knowledge of rigging, a certain extent of rigging, and as a rigger, you need to know how to animate. Even if the animation is not, the quality of it is not great, it's fine. You need to practice as much as possible to a certain extent how to animate so that you can understand what kind of controls you would need for something as simple as a spine. Now, the reason why I'm saying I personally wouldn't use something like advanced skeleton because I write my own scripts, my own rigging system, and it's not as a rigger you shouldn't use advanced skeleton. You should write your own tools. Some who are applying for rigging jobs and putting that they're using advanced skeleton in the rig is not ideal. It's not right. So just going to quickly show you an example of something as simple as the spine. What kind of thinking that you would need to consider as you build it. Now, I'm not going to show you how to build that certain setup, but I'm going to mention some of the aspects, and as a someone who's studying rigging or working on increasing your rigging knowledge, you can put this in mind. And as an animator, you can also look at this and understand what is required in order to make the rig as fast as possible. So just going to, let's see, let's make spine. So this is a module that I just created for creating specifically spine, and it really took about probably a year and a half to think of the best way of creating a spine like that. So I'll explain why. And let's say, just to remember, copy this, make, and I don't want to bore you guys or anything, but just bear with me here in this part. So if we type this, so it requires you, if you select the beginning and the end of your spine, you can even select like the beginning and this joint, and it will build in between, it will build a setup for you. But let's run this and see what's going to happen. Great. So now a lot of you will look at this and say, well, this is like a spine, a ribbon spine, right? It's not the regular ribbon spine that you usually see. Now, some of you may already have built a setup like that before, but let me actually tell you what's unique about that. What you would think as a rigger and as an animator working on a project, or you're asking a rigger to develop something for you, you can consider some of the things that will make the rig lighter. Okay. Now let's just rotate this as something maybe I can develop later in the script, but to create the controls for you automatically. But think of the round big controls, or the circle big controls, as the FK, and inside is the IK, and the cube. The cubes inside are an extra IK. And actually, you guys can see that implemented in Stuart or Maverick. That's what makes these rigs unique. So if we kind of like think of this, there we go. Think of this as parts, like extra parts of the spine. Okay, so what's unique about that is that when you select the ribbon, a lot of ribbon spines have blend shapes into them. That doesn't have any blend shape. When you look at the inputs, there are no blend shape in the inputs. There's mainly like blend colors. There is extra nodes that, as much as possible, depending on direct connections, basically. So there is no uh, blend shapes, and blend shapes is a type of deformer. Now, granted, we have here a wire which is a deformer, but the usual setup for that is that you would have a duplicate of um, that plane on the side here or somewhere next to it, and then you apply to that duplicate um, the wire deformer or the twist deformer. Now the twist deformer and the wire deformer are applied directly on this plane. There is no blend shape, and it makes it lighter. And because you can use that setup on arms, legs, neck, and the more you keep adding blend shapes in your scene, it keeps adding, and removing it is one of the things that would help to make your rig lighter, to avoid having too many blend shapes um, that are plugged into your ribbon setup. So again, there is no blend shape applied here. It's just direct connections, and the deformer, the wire, and the twist are directly applied to your um, ribbon. And you can see here when for example, you can go down here and activate the stretch. And again, that's the same setup as Stuart and Maverick. You can find the same way. The cool thing about this is that, and I'll show you here something that makes a big difference. The reason why we added an extra spine. Let's actually move also this up a little bit. So you can see this is like the FK. You have FK and you have also IK. So the one inside is the IK. And when you move it, I want you guys to look at the cube shape controls. Look at these ones here. Look how are they affected, right? It's affecting the whole spine, the whole shape of the spine, right? But if you want to affect only like one specific shape, like one of the, let's undo that. So again, if I move this, you can see it's moving the whole setup. But if you move the extra IK, you can see here that it's moving that specific area only, and you can even scale it, you can rotate. And basically it's really a joint that has the shape applied to it. And of course you have infinite twist. So you have this infinite twist here, and depending on where you're rotating from, the twist adjusts from either down or up. Okay, so just letting you guys know, and you can move it anywhere you want, you can rotate it as much as you want, it will maintain its shape. So you guys, that's one of the reasons why I would highly recommend to start thinking of creating your own setup. Avoid using auto rigs that are online because they tend to be really heavy. Something like, again, like I mentioned, Advanced Skeleton, it's probably because I used it once trying to understand the setup, but it was really slow. So again, that's something that you might consider as an animator and even as a rigger, to try as much as possible to strengthen both skills, to be as much as possible to be have a certain level of understanding in rigging, and same for animation as well. Okay, so hopefully this gave you an idea of why something like a rig like Stuart, the bird rig, would be costing a certain price. It's not about adding fancy buttons, it's about what goes behind this